Hi, we're Matt and welcome back to One More Adventure. So, as promised, we're finally getting around to do our budget video for Sri Lanka. So we were there for 22 days?
22 days.
22 days. And so we're just going to go over the key points of everything we spent, what our original budget was, and actually what we spent in the end.
Yeah, and then just some little, I suppose, pointers of things that we wish we would have known before going, and maybe just things that might help you when you do actually plan your trip to Sri Lanka. So to start out, our global budget for Sri Lanka, we budgeted ourselves, a backpacker's budget really, of €50 for the two of us per day. And this was to include accommodation, food, activities, everything. So for the 22 days, this would have worked out at €1,100 total, and this is excluding any flights. However, we actually spent under budget by quite a bit. Actually, this is quite surprising. We spent €812 for our whole time in Sri Lanka, and this averages out to €37 a day for everything.
Yeah, I think we were pretty surprised by this. As I said, right now they're having the economy problems they've had, so they've had a fair amount of inflation. So we really thought we'd be either very close to our budget or, spot on our budget. So to be almost €200 under our budget, that's a happy surprise all round. That's a bonus.
So the category in which we spent the most would be our activities. We spent 37% of our budget here, and it equates to €300 for all our activities what we did in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so we did make one big mistake. It was for the safari that we did in Yala. Probably the best thing we did, but we did make that mistake of we didn't book in advance. We did send a few WhatsApp out and we just didn't get a reply, and so we kind of just went with the first thing that was in front of us, and so we spent $150 for a 6-hour safari. I think the average is about €90, so $90, sorry. So yeah, definitely plan in advance. Hopefully you don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, and then our other big activities that we did, I would have to say probably Lions Rock and Anuradhapura, and they were quite expensive as well. So they were $30 and $25 each for those two. And then everything else, as far as activities went, were actually pretty cheap. They were more like, I think max 2,000 rupees each time. And then again, we just enjoyed being outside, so a lot of other activities would be the hiking, and they were completely free.
Yeah, outdoors are free, bonus, it's great.
So the second category that we spent the most in, which is no surprise, it was accommodation. And so for accommodation, we averaged out 27% of our total budget.
Yeah.
And that works out at €217 for the 22 nights we spent in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and to be fair, we didn't use any hostels. We just used guest houses and really nice places as well. For I think it was an average of €10 or €14 a night.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, really nice. We had our own room, own bathroom. Breakfast was included.
Yeah, that was one of the criteria when we was looking for some stay. So we used Booking.com to reserve all of our accommodation while there. It's just really easy,
really easy.
There was plenty of options everywhere we went. And so the criteria that I would always put down was to have breakfast included and Wi-Fi, because obviously we did have one SIM card, but then for the second person it just meant they could also have internet connection when needed at the accommodation. So the next category is all of our food. So for this one here, we spent €122 on all of our food for the 22 days, and that is 15% of our budget.
Yeah, I could not believe how cheap it was. Sometimes we were like, they say a certain price and we're like, are you sure? Have we understood that correctly? It was just unreal.
Yeah. And so 9 times out of 10, whenever we could, we would always eat at local eateries. And our way really was we'd just walk along the streets, and if we saw locals eating there, the prices weren't too expensive, then we would go.
And that was honestly the best way. We had such good food.
Yes.
I don't think they put a foot wrong.
No, it was amazing food, and they had lots of options for like vegetarian or meat eaters. Their local dishes actually, well, their national dish is rice and curry, and the amount of curries that we tried, wow, they were amazing. And then if you don't like rice and curry, the other dish is kutu, which is the rotis that they chop up really small, fry it with veg, and it's honestly amazing as well.
Probably my preference as well, I have to admit, so yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
The other one is spice. That was the one big thing that I'm not very good with spice. So yeah, you can actually ask for the spice on the side, or you can just ask them to lessen the spice. You don't have to have their spice levels, which is really, really high. So yeah, obviously everyone has their opinion on this. So if you want spice, ask for spice. If you don't want spice, recommend you just saying in advance, or they will just generally give you spicy, and then you have a hard time.
And then finally, I think it's just try all of the fruit and vegetables there.
Definitely.
There are some amazing tastes and just some amazing foods out there that is just you can't get in Europe, you can't get back home, and so definitely try everything you can.
Yeah, so remember with the climate they've got, there's passion fruit, papaya, there's coconuts, there's even pineapples, you can go on, it's just like, it's all there, and again, it's readily there, and it's cheap, really, really cheap. And they don't serve too much veg with their food sometimes, so the fruit is just an added bonus. You just feel a bit healthier, I have to admit.
The fourth point of our expenditure is transport. And I'm actually really shocked at this, considering the amount we travelled around Sri Lanka from the south coast right up to the north and then back down again. We spent over the 22 days 44 euros, and so that's like 5% of our budget.
Yeah, that's just unreal. So we used predominantly buses, and once or twice the train from like Ella to Candia.
Yeah, and these are the local buses. These aren't private buses. They're purely local buses.
Town buses, the ones that come, from and they stop everywhere. They're great. There are a few points to say about them. The Sri Lankans aren't tall people, so I'm 6 foot. We saw some other people there that were taller than me. They don't give you much leg room, and sometimes when there's supposed to be 2 seats, there are 3 seats. So you have a lack of space. Put it this way.
Yeah, it can be quite tight on the buses, quite cramped. And it doesn't matter if all the seats are taken, they will keep accepting people on the bus.
Oh yeah, they'll be hanging out the windows.
Yeah, they can be quite cramped at times. And I wouldn't say that they get you around, they're not always the comfiest, they don't always have aircon, but honestly, they get you around,
they're
get you where
efficient.
you need to be.
Yeah, they're really efficient. Another point to be said is sometimes if you're travelling from one place to another place and it falls upon lunchtime at midday, a lot of the times, instead of just doing the maybe 1 hour journey or 2 hour journey, they'll stop for half an hour, have their lunch, everyone will get off the bus, have their lunch as well, and you get on, so you'll lose half an hour. So maybe just add that into your timetable as well. You don't think you're going to be there maybe by 1 o'clock, you'll probably be there for 1:30 maybe.
But I think that also goes for all of the buses and the schedules, is just don't expect the buses to depart on time, arrive on time. They're quite hectic, and I think once you expect it to be hectic,
once you know,
then it's just go with the flow. You will arrive at some point.
And it is an experience. I definitely recommend them. As you can see, 44 euros for 22 days.
Yeah,
that's so cheap, and it is efficient. They really do get you to everywhere you want to go. And some of the places really off the kind of chartered roads, they'll get you there anyway. They're brilliant, and they're really quite nice. If you sometimes say the guest house you're going to stay at, they'll literally drop you, as long as it's not too far a detour off the road, they'll drop you in front of their guest house and then continue on. They're great. Yeah.
And if you don't really know how to get to a place or something, just don't be afraid to ask at your guest house, as they will probably actually know how to get there. The majority of the locals don't actually have a car. If they have any mode of transport, it's maybe a tuk or a scooter. So they use the public buses to get everywhere, to go to their food shops, to go and take the kids to school. They use it for everything. So there's a good chance that your guest house owner will actually be able to tell you how to get to your next destination.
Yeah.
And once you arrive at the bus station, also don't be afraid to ask the station masters. They don't always speak English, but if you can at least maybe write down the name of somewhere that you're going, they can at least point you to the correct bus.
Yeah, so these are the guys at the main bus stations. They're in like a transparent booth, basically. And yeah, that's what we did. We had it on Google Maps, and we just showed them the name. They're like, okay, take this bus, this bus, this bus.
Yes.
You do have to be careful about some of the express buses.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will try and sell you their bus for any price, and they'll tell you any white lie to tell you to take their bus.
Yes, yes, but they're quite recognisable as well because they are often a bit more of a minivan. They do depart from the bus station, so just try and double check if you can, but it's usually not too bad.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. The two buses are very different, but the price is very different as well. You may get somewhere maybe 20 minutes before, but you're paying 4 to sometimes we saw 10 times the price as the local bus. So something to keep in mind.
And that also goes for the tuk-tuks as well. While they may be handy, the tuk-tuks are sometimes 10 times more expensive. And we saw that when we were quoted 4,000 rupee to go to the tea museum from Kandy, and the bus journey that we took cost us 400.
400, yeah.
And
that was literally 10 times more.
Yeah.
It was just unreal.
So there's just a few little things to take into account if you are planning on using the public transport.
Yeah. While on the word of tuk-tuks, the drivers are persistent. Now they need obviously the foreigners' money. We get that point, but they're persistent. When they really want you to take their tuk-tuk, they can follow you literally down the street until you can tell them for the 10th time, "I'm sorry, I don't want to use your tuk-tuk. Just keep you calm." We saw some of the foreigners as well. They weren't so calm. Let's put it this way. I know they can get on your nerves, but they just need the foreigners' money. That's what they need. So.
Yeah, and then on the trains as well. You can reserve a ticket for a seat on the trains, but you have to do this at least 24, if not 48 hours before the train departs. What you can do though, if you're not too fussed about having a seat sometimes, is you can actually turn up at the station half an hour before the train departs and buy a second class ticket on the day for wherever you need to go. Yeah.
And again, the experience of the trains is pretty cool. Most of the time you'll take second class. There is a third class as well, but honestly second class is fine. You would have seen all these Instagram pictures and even probably on YouTube again of the to Kandy train. You can hang out the door, take your selfie, do what you want, and there's usually a seat. Good majority of the time there's a seat, and they're comfy. I have to admit, they're pretty comfy. They're not overly crowded. They're not too hot inside, and again, they get you to where you want to go. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, public transport is by far the way to go.
Yeah, bonus.
So the next category is, I suppose, drinks, really. So we're not huge drinkers, and over the 22 days we spent €15 on drinks, and that's 2% of our budget.
And I think that was mainly because when you arrive in Ella, there are a few actually like Western bars. We thought, after so long, let's just go to one. It was a nice place to actually meet other travellers as well. There really weren't that many, so it was just nice. And we just grabbed a few beers with them. So yeah, again, €15. I mean, that's nothing. That's really easy. So
yeah, and so yeah, I don't think there's much more to add to that one, really.
No, we don't drink that much, so.
And then finally is the category we just put as shopping and miscellaneous, and that one there again, 2% of our budget at €14. And this is just little things like the local SIM card, our laundry that we got done, I think twice while we were there. My sunglasses broke as well, so it's miscellaneous things.
Yeah, so again on the word of the SIM card, I think a lot of you, if you travelled before, you probably already know, but if you haven't and you're a little bit worried, as soon as you arrive at the airport, or sometimes as soon as you get to the first town, we always do it in the airport. You give your phone and they'll take your SIM card out. They give you obviously that SIM card, and for a very, very reasonable price, they'll put a local SIM card in. Yeah. Some will give you 30 gig, sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's a bit
It all depends on the data plan you want.
Yeah.
But we went for the 30 gigabyte data plan for the 22 days, and we paid €3.30. And so,
can't go wrong.
Yeah, that was really not bad. And the only reason we really need it was to book hotels if we were on the move, or to just check guidance apps in emails, or just even get in touch with local guides with WhatsApp.
Yeah, we don't generally use Instagram, Facebook and all the social networks with that. We wait until we have Wi-Fi to do that. So it's a peace of mind. As you said, while on the train we're booking an extra accommodation, or you get the idea. It's pretty easy.
And so just some little pointers that we kind of found helpful. If you're worried about getting the currency while over there, we used just a couple of travel cards, that our accounts don't charge us anything for withdrawing the money, and we found that the Bank of Ceylon was one of the only companies that wouldn't charge foreign cards, and it was really easy to withdraw any cash. They had ATMs in
everywhere,
all of the towns, everywhere. We never had an issue getting any money out at any point.
Yeah. The only probably real point about the money, they give you, obviously ATMs give you like large notes, and a lot of the shops, because everything is so cheap, they actually don't really want them. So maybe if you do go to a supermarket, or if you are going out for a restaurant, try and break up your larger notes. So if you then go on to a market, or if you just need something very small, you can use the smaller notes and help out the local commerce, because they don't usually have a lot of change really.
The other thing is sun cream.
Yeah.
Just make sure you take it with you. It's really hard to find when you're over there.
Yeah.
And the UV factors, they can be extremely strong. I think we saw UV factors of 11 to 15 average throughout the whole time there.
Yeah, I didn't even know they went beyond 10, the UV, so that's new to us. Sometimes it was quite, especially in I think the first couple of days, it was quite cloudy, but then we felt that we were just getting burnt very quickly, and so we went out to look for sun cream, and I don't know what the reason is, but there's not really available, there weren't really many of them, so just be aware of that. If you can bring some sun cream, then honestly I think it's just a bonus for you. Saves you a bit of running around time, make your life easier.
And then just another little app that we really enjoy and kind of find very helpful is MaxMe. So this app you can use completely offline. Just make sure to download the maps that you need before going offline. And it's perfect for if you need navigation, if you have a scooter, or even hikes. This app, we were able to find the hikes that we did on the app, and it's just peace of mind, really handy. As I know for like Ella's Peak, for instance, sometimes the locals will try and get you to...
They're sneaky.
Yeah, they'll try and get you to turn off the trail a bit sooner, because obviously they want you to come and eat at their restaurant or at their cafe. And so having MaxMe was just handy, because we was able to say, no, we need to follow this trail, and this was able to show them on the map where we wanted to go. So we really hope that this video on the budget in Sri Lanka can at least help you better determine your budget for when you travel to Sri Lanka. And just that maybe you can learn from some of our mistakes with the pointers that we have given you, and just the recommendations that we may have.
Yeah, as we said, if our mistakes can save you a bit of money, hopefully you've got a bit more money for other activities or better accommodation or whatever you feel like you need. Hopefully it's a bonus for you guys,
And if you've enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. It honestly helps us tremendously, and we'll see you in the next one. Yeah,
next lot of videos we're traveling to North Thailand. I'm actually really excited for that, so I hope you come along and enjoy it with us.
Yeah, we'll see you there.